first boyfriend was high school. He was a senior in high school. He was a musician and he was really, really cute. And he lived right next door. I was in junior high. My folks decided it was okay for me to date him. We never had sex. But he was very, very abused, very neglected, very depressed, very gifted, so talented. And then one night, he went out with a bunch of buddies, and they all had a bunch of peyote, and he fried his brain. He never came back. He didn't even know who I was. He was like a child. So that was my first boyfriend. Then, I don't want to go into all those horror stories with all those boyfriends in high school, but then I met this guy down the hill. He lived in Torrance, and I just fell for him. And that's the story I just told you. He was violent too, alcoholic, violent. I would drink. I'm not, I've done my partying. I have. But it wasn't a daily thing or even a weekly thing where I would be out of control. I was very uncomfortable in that. I'm really the one that kind of made sure everyone got home and, would be terrified. I lived in a lot of fear. I've been realizing that. I feel like I've been living from one trauma to the next, like never getting a chance to breathe from the one before. Choices. I mean, I could just, the stuff I've allowed people to do to me. I'm not a victim. But I made these choices, right? Anyway, after the terrorist guy, that family, my heart was just broken, and my dad introduced me to this guy that he knew, and really nice guy, came from a nice family, but he was into cocaine, and he was dealing it. I mean, I don't know, and he drank like a fish. But we really had a good time. I didn't like coke. Didn't do anything for me. I tried it. I tried it quite a few times with him. Not a lot, but quite a few times because he couldn't believe I didn't enjoy it. And I wound up drinking way too heavy with this guy. I am surprised I'm still alive. Nothing bad. We went to football games, and no, we went to Dodger games. We went to concerts. I got to see a lot of cool concerts. He had connections, and I couldn't hang, and I wasn't over the first guy, Dave, the one that got so violent. And if you've heard my story, I have a pregnancy in between all that. At 14, So I leave this guy, and it's just killing. I mean, it was awful. I felt so bad for him. He just was really, he got cancer. And I was trying to just be his friend, but you know how that is. Anyway, I had to move on. And then there was this guy at work from Alabama. He was an engineer. Came from Alabama, right? The first time we went out, all my alarm bells went off. I never wanted to see him again. A year later, I see him again. He's a totally different guy, right? wow, he's playing guitar and, he's into a lot of the stuff I'm into. He looks different. Whole mannerism's different. I fell for it. We get married. I get pregnant. He wrecks my car. The IRS comes after and leans on his check because I guess he hadn't been paying his taxes forever. He was being a scab on something. I don't know. I'm pregnant. We have to move in with my parents. Not a good deal. So he loads me up and we move to the swamps of Alabama. Deep swamps of Alabama. I was the California beach girl. That's a whole nother story for another time. This man, the Alabama guy, is the father of both of my daughters. Long story short, I get him in to see this gal at the university. I wound up going to school at the University of Alabama, which I've had a lot of good experiences. I have, but they've all been surrounded with tragedy. All of them. The man wouldn't work. He wouldn't work. So I was working, trying to go to school, not doing well with any of it, and I had 2 babies and a major surgery in between. Just horror. He tells the therapist that when he met me, we didn't get along so good. So he had his buddies start coming around and talking to me at work, getting to know me, right? He became what I needed. Why couldn't I become what he needed? After we got married, he turned into his true self. He told me he'd never killed a deer. He never shot a deer in his life. The only thing he ever shot a deer with was a camera. Well, this guy had been hunting his whole damn life. I don't kill animals for fun. I won't kill an animal unless I'm starving. Well, I guess I do kill animals. Someone kills them for me. We don't need to do that now unless, I don't want to get into all that either. I used to piss around his hunting stand, so it was horrible what I experienced. There was just... I have nothing nice to say. Moving on. Trying to do the single mom thing out here. The guy's not helping me. No, family, they're all... Sorry, you guys, but the stuff that was going on with my relatives up here was just no way. My cousin made the paper. He was a cook. I mean, meth. I can't... I'm not even going to shut up. It's the truth. I don't have to. Methamphetamine was hitting the scene out here, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't understand. I thought people were awake all night because it was so hot here, and the foil on the windows was because of the heat. I was stupid. I was stupid. But anyway, I had to flee Alabama. More trauma. And then the second husband. Sweet man. Sweet man. Alcohol. Drugs. It's always been distant. had different preferences than I did, and I don't know. He did his best. Jerry, he to go to all her games with her. He was wonderful, hard worker. He is such a good man. Such a good man. It was just we should have never done that. And I got cancer. I got really, really sick. Really sick. These psych meds, all this stuff, this is when the nightmare started. This is when the nightmare started. I found myself fighting cancer in a lean-to out in the middle of this desert because my family didn't believe I was as sick as I was back then either. Even though, and I don't even need to defend myself here, I mean, City of Hope, if I've told that story. I had to get off all the meds, and when I did, I went into remission. But it was hell, and I didn't understand what I was going through. I do now. I do now. So I get off all these meds. I'm cleaning up my life, and I meet Don. And he's coming out of trauma. He's got a beautiful little girl, or not a little girl, she's a teenager. And, we decide we're going to try to pull together and just get a roof so we can have our kids in our home. And then we wound up getting married, and you're seeing. I was molested as a child. I was abused as a child. All I really knew was violence and alcoholism, and I had a lot of, I don't know how to say this. See, I don't want to bash my folks, because they're good folks. They were good folks. They were the best they could be. My mom really was impressive. She made something out of herself. I hope she's not sitting there alone. I truly do. I scare her. I always have. Leave it at that. My dad passed away. But my God, he did amazing things too. He was working for he built this stadium-sized building. I mean, it's just impressive stuff they've done. They came from poverty. We do what we know. We do what we know. Again, the apple, if you've never tasted one, how can you even imagine? If you haven't seen it modeled, if you've never experienced it, how do you create, even know you want it? How do you even know it exists? I don't want to make the same mistakes anymore. Eyes wide open. This is the gift I've been given, okay? That's why we are struggling. I'm a different person. It's going to be okay. He's a different person now, too. This is such a hard and painful awakening. My partner is waking up. And it's terrifying once you really truly see, whoops, what's happening, what's been happening. My husband can see how sick I've been for how many years now. He's truly seeing what's happened now. He's getting it. It is scary. We're going to get therapy together. Wish us luck. We're learning to be friends right now, and we had a beautiful day together. We really, really did. And the power went out, and he went, oh, look what I found. He found our pictures that have been missing forever. I have proof that I had a life. All my other photos got lost. I gave them to a family member to go through, and they wound up at the dump. So all I had was what was on Facebook. So I'm really happy today. I got to remember my daughter and my family. My God, I wish they could see. I've got videos and pictures, and I'll wind up sending it to them somehow. They ignore me now, but I'll figure out how. We were beautiful once. We were beautiful once. And I'm so sorry I made so many bad mistakes. I wouldn't do it again. Forever Windows Warriors. I'm rocking, but I'm healing. I'm healing.